let's get the show started, shall we?
Live from BC Children's Hospital in Vancouver, it's the 29th Annual Miracle Weekend.
Yes, welcome inside BC Children's Hospital. You know, this place serves 1 million children living in BC and the Yukon. They treat the severely ill kids, of course, but they also take care of all those smaller things like the bad ear infection that happens at 2:30 in the morning or a broken elbow.
Those things can feel like big things to little people,
For sure.
I'm sure. So for the next 4 hours, all day tomorrow, we will give you an insight into so many heroic stories and how this hospital is such an important place to many families around beautiful British Columbia.
Prior to Hans being born, we had no idea that he had a condition.
At the time of birth, nothing was wrong. Everything was perfect. It wasn't until 5 hours later, I guess, he was cold, unresponsive, lethargic, and so they had a feeling that it might have been a heart problem, so they took him for testing.
Hans Rana and Christina Strada were still celebrating the birth of their first child when they were suddenly told that Hans, who was only a few hours old, was critically ill with a heart condition.
I remember standing outside of Women's and making the phone calls. It's a boy. It's a boy. And then a major roller coaster ride. From the highest point a father can be when your child is born to you know, the worst place you could ever want to be in your life is not knowing what's going to happen to your child.
Caregivers at BC Children's Hospital did 2 emergency cardiac procedures on Hans during his first 4 days of life. He had a very rare heart defect.
Within the history of BC Children's Hospital, we've seen likely 5 to 6 patients with similar anatomy to what Hans has. And his major problem was that the chamber, his right ventricle, which pumps to his lungs, was developed very small. And the artery to his lung was also very small. So he could not put blood through his lungs very well.
Hans soon went home, but he was struggling. He tired easily and would sometimes turn blue when he cried. At 8 months old, he went back to Children's Hospital for his first open heart operation.
You can see in that picture how worried, scared I am. Because honestly, I thought I was giving him away for the very last time. That was the last time I was going to hold him.
Although the surgery went well, Hans' health and future were still uncertain. And his parents knew he would someday need another open heart operation. That took place when Hans was nearly 6 years old. The results were immediate.
So for 6 years, we were used to him having cold hands and feet. And after his surgery in January of this year, he's pink and he had warm hands. So that was great. We've noticed that he's not out of his breath as quickly. And he's able to play with the kids at PE time and at recess, and he's fine.
Can you count to 20?
Yep.
Quietly, okay?
Hans is now the healthiest he has ever been.
My sense is he's going to do well. I can't tell you what he's going to be like when he's 25, 30, because there aren't children around who are 25, 30 who have had this kind of process. But he looks like he's doing great.
Hans might need another heart procedure down the road, and he tries to cope with his fears about his survival.
He's very concerned about his own mortality. He talks very quickly. He runs around very fast. Like, he does everything quickly in case he's not around to see it tomorrow.
And I'm going to hold your hand. You can feed the ducks.
BC Children's Hospital has given us hope that he will have a healthy, normal, long life. I mean, I can see my son being in his 60s and in his 70s.
1, 2, 3, swing.
All right, good to have them back once again. We've got Hans with us, and we also have Jitesh and Christine as well. Thanks very much, everyone, for being here. Nice to see you guys again. I interviewed you long ago when you were with the Champion Child last year, and so things are going well for you right now, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What can you tell us about your experience with Children's Hospital?
Very good, helpful, very kind and generous.
You really liked working with the nurses and the doctors, right?
Yeah.
Talk about, you experience that you had obviously in the hospital, not the greatest experience. He's healthy, which is great. But then being a Champion Child, he got to meet a lot of young kids across the country and around the world, right?
Yeah, we spent a bit of time in Florida with about 65 other families. And so we met children who had heart conditions, who had cystic fibrosis, children who have cancer, and families that have gone through a lot.
Yeah.
So it was actually a really nice experience for him and our family to know that we're not alone in this. Just like every other family in BC that has to use.
And he got to make friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's great. Friends that he'll probably have for the rest of his life, right? Tell us about when you look at that video that we showed and you see those days of him in the hospital. What goes through your mind?
It's actually such a blur because I mean, I don't even remember a lot of it.
Yeah.
But you go through the motions and you see that and you think, oh yeah, that's right, he went through this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So great to catch up with you guys again. Yeah. And you're doing well and having a good time. You happy to be here tonight?
Yeah.
Good stuff. You playing any sports? What are you doing now?
I once in a while play soccer at school.
Awesome. Well, good to see you all. Thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it. And good to see you're doing well, my friend.
Thanks.
Okay. There you go.
Thank you.
All right.
We are pleased to introduce you now to our 2016 Champion Child. I had a chance to chat with Aiden Chin earlier this evening. 5 years ago, cancer tore apart Aiden's world and forced him into BC Children's Hospital for weeks at a time. But you know what? Cancer couldn't break the deep bond Aiden had with his brother and his friends. In fact, it did quite the opposite.
I don't expect my cancer to come back. It's a new chapter in my life. I guess there is a sense of being a child, being a teen again. So there are times when I do feel free. I don't think I could ever fully go back to what it was like before. Bren was 7 years old and I was only 11, so we both were just kids, right?
I had no clue. I heard the cancer word, I was just like, what is that? Okay, maybe I'm gonna see him tomorrow. My eyes kind of started opening up and I was just like, Aiden's not gonna be here for a while. I'm only gonna see him maybe a couple times a week. It just kept on going in my head, like what if he was not gonna make it? What if I wasn't gonna see him at home anymore?
There were times when I was feeling really sick and out of it and tired, and there were times when it wasn't always the chemo, it was about how other patients in the hospital were doing.
You don't know what it's like, because I've been through so much pain, but I want to be here for 2 weeks. And they'd be here for 6 months, you say?
And I was sad that there were other patients and there were other children that were younger than me going through cancers that were harder than mine. Basically from that point on, I was like, why don't I try to get through it and then hopefully come back, help out. That's what I've basically been trying to do since I finished treatment. I got to join this club at the hospital called the Oncology Teen Group Club. It's something that you can't find out of the hospital. As a survivor, I'm still part of the teen group. There's still a lot of support that I can give to them and they can give to me because there's an understanding that treatment isn't over when you're a survivor. There's still an emotional side of things. You have friends that are going through it, friends that aren't gonna make it through it, and that becomes a reality for you. It's not just over. Brooke was a friend of mine that I met in the hospital, and she became basically a sister to me. Brooke was definitely the closest friend that I had that I lost. The day before she passed away, I did get to see her in the hospital, and I did get to hold her hand, talk to her, and say goodbye and tell her I loved her one last time. And I don't believe that you can accept something like that. You have to, I guess, learn to cope with it more. Before, I felt like cancer was something that was rare, that 1 in a ton of kids would be diagnosed, but it's not rare, and there's a lot of kids in oncology, children that are going through what you went through, and pain that is unexplainable. I want to be able to give back to those that have helped me in the hospital, that have made it so that I can go out there and be active and just live my life again.
It's a really good feeling that I could just go home and do something with my brother now. Without Children's Hospital, my brother wouldn't be here, so I'm eternally grateful for them being there.
I'm looking forward to staying connected to the hospital because it's been such a big part, giving back and pursuing the dreams that I have, and being able to do that because of BC Children's Hospital.
Miracle Weekend coming to a close, but what a weekend it's been. It's time to check in for a big total, guys.
It is.
Let's do
So
it.
before we do this, though, I really would like to say thanks to all the volunteers working behind the scenes who helped us out.
Yes.
You've been amazing.
Yes. It really is a cast of thousands. So do we want to do this right now?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Let's turn the numbers.
Okay.
8,
0, 6, 8, 1, 0.
Angels are smiling, lifted by love, awed by the children, exploring their world of pure innocence, pure love. Mothers and fathers whisper their prayers, take joy in knowing that everyone shares their faith and hope and love. Little ones laughing, lost in their play, through grateful eyes you can hear them say, thank you all, thank you, thank you all, thank you. Miracles happen with love and with help from the angel in all of us. Miracles happen, oh yes they do. Here's hoping someday one happens for you, and the peace comes to you from above. Miracles happen with love. Miracles happen with love, and with help from the angel and all of us. Miracles happen, oh yes they do. Here's hoping someday one happens for you, and peace comes to you from above.